In this week's edition, a special Easter edition of Artificially Informed, we've got the FBI got hacked. It's just the start. AI audits, cyber stock drops, vendor risk gaps, and why your smart tools might need supervision. All this and more in this week's edition of Artificially Informed. Happy Friday, April 3rd, Patrick. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We just got some of the ice off the road, so I can travel.
It's 75 and sunny where I'm at. Well, despite the fact that it's a holiday weekend, that didn't slow down the news. A lot happened this week. Now, like with everything, Iran conflict has been dominating the headlines in all sectors and all spheres, but we're going to have a little bit of new things to talk about today. With that, let's dive into our headline topic, and this is Iranian conflict related. The FBI director, Kash Patel, he got hacked, and our headline is he got hacked, and that's not classified. It couldn't be if they wanted to. So, in essence, what I read from this is it wasn't his work email that got breached; it was his personal email. But then it was more of an embarrassment campaign. That's what I was gathering when I read through this. I mean, literally. Dump all his photos, any kind of personal documents. Basically, the goal was to harass him and cause a major inconvenience. That was my take on this.
Yeah, and I guess if there was anything that was actually confidential in there, that would be bad that he even had it on personal email. So that might yet to be seen, depending on how much access they had. But definitely something worth considering, and that's why tabletop exercises are important.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at this too, and one of the things that we got to talk about, why did we say it was Iranian linked? Well, this is Handala again. They're back in the headlines, and they are causing a ruckus. Right now, we see it as defenders on the cybersecurity side of things. These guys have been trying literally everything they can to try to go ahead and get any kind of headline news, show that they're serious, disrupt. I mean, all the above. It's kind of been where things have been lately in terms of this is the new realm of cyber warfare. So, I mean, super not great. I mean, this is the nation's top cyber officer. Not a good thing that, his personal email was so easily compromised. But on the other hand, we don't have all the details yet. For all we know, this is some kind of crazy supply chain hack that happened and, nothing could have stopped it because he was using Gmail instead of using his classified email. Like, there's just not enough details here for me to say, was he insufficient? Did he not have good passwords? We don't know.
Yeah, I file it under there's no guarantees in life, and this can really happen to anybody.
Well, let's segue, because right here, our core story this week, our core tidbit for our Inside the Stack is actually related around this exact kind of issue. Supply chain risk, right? Every business, every nonprofit, every organization, they all use various tools, vendors, partners to run their business. And what we're seeing in the security space, Patrick, and you can tell me if you agree with this statement, I've been telling people there's two primary security concerns every business should be concerned about right now. Identity is the new perimeter. So your identity, your login, who you are, and then your supply chain, your vendors who you give access to all your stuff. Those are the two main ways I am seeing organizations just get pummeled right now. Would you agree with that assessment?
100%. Yep. And you and I were just speaking this week about a client that we had recommended a vendor to. It wasn't a security issue, but we still want to be a part of that process for what those clients are doing with that vendor to make sure that they're doing security best practices in the process.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to avoid working with a partner in 2026. Like, we're in the world of, I would argue, maybe we're moving into a new meta with the SaaS apocalypse, but SaaS is a thing, partners are a thing, businesses are never more complex. So what do you do, right? Like, how do you manage this risk? And the answer is you can't avoid it, first off. No one here is preaching avoidance risk. That's not possible. Sorry. Unless you want to go and sell like shoe leather on the side. Even then, I don't think you could do it. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of like some ridiculous part. Maybe if you're Amish and you're selling Amish furniture. Okay, cool. You can avoid this whole thing. Otherwise, So right now, it's not the smart move to cut your vendors loose, right? I don't like them, security, but manage them, right? Challenge them, specifically a sustainable security check process. before you sign partnerships where you know this person is going to get huge access to your business, whether it's an accounting partner, that's a big one, giving someone access to your QuickBooks Online account, an IT partner like us. Hey, why should I trust you with my data? SaaS partners and email providers. I am of the opinion there are only really two reputable email partners in this day and age, Microsoft and Google. That's it. That's your choices, guys. Sorry. Anyone else shouldn't be considered. These are all things you can put into a process to run your own business. Because in cybersecurity, your business is only as safe as the partner who still thinks the word password is a clever password.
Yes. Definitely not even password one.
Yep. If you're interested in oh my gosh. Check us out on our website or in the link, or send us a DM from whatever social media platform you're watching this on if you want to talk more about how to manage your vendor risk. It's real, it's there, it's not going anywhere. Sorry. Moving on to our government story. And this one, I think, so I like to think I've got a bit of a libertarian flair sometimes when it comes to free market capitalism and taxes. I know you do. And so this story, okay. The IRS. So the headline is the AI is watching your write-offs. And it essentially boils down to the IRS is partnering with Palantir to modernize audit selection, aka who should we investigate and drill down to extract more, revenue from, as well as just looking for discrepancies in tax filings and instead of using outdated methods like they're used to. How did you feel when you read this story?
Well, this one definitely gives you the uneasy feeling. I can't really put a finger on it, but just knowing AI is able to see anything and everything really fast. It really comes down to what the human intention behind it's for. I mean, if you're going to get audited because you didn't properly categorize that stick of gum you chewed on, while you were driving your car for business expenses, that could get a bit onerous.
Audits, even if you do everything right, are hugely inconvenient with the IRS. I will say that 100%. I'm growing up, my dad was audited 3 times as a small business owner by the IRS, and all 3 times he passed. But I remember the stress, my mom trying to find all the documents that were needed for the audit. And this does give me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies, only because now potentially what this leads to in my mind is instead of a human, on review selecting which accounts have discrepancies, we've seen this trend, especially in government, where they default to the AI's judgment. Now, you think I should audit something? I'm just going to do it. No questions asked, right?
Yep.
Palantir especially has had a track record in law enforcement when it comes to investigation, ticket citation, and now we're going into the civilian side with taxes. This gives me, as a personal opinion, just the metaphorical heebie-jeebies everywhere.
Very much so.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this, but it's happening, and we'll see how it plays out. Wow. Okay. So have you been paying attention to the stock market the last few months?
I try not to. I play the long game. I like to sleep.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. And I think a lot of people should stay away from tickers, and this is a great example of this. So the headline is AI jitters erase billions from cybersecurity stocks specifically. And this is just an example of hair trigger trading. Like, wow.
Yes.
Talk about a reaction. So we got a report from Anthropic AI. It leaked out in the wild. It wasn't supposed to go live. And it described posing serious cybersecurity risks across the board. It caused a sharp market reaction, and investors worried the model could help hackers bypass existing defenses in cybersecurity platforms like, think CrowdStrike. I'm not mentioning specifically. I think CrowdStrike, Palo Alto, SentinelOne, all these guys, right? Major firms like CrowdStrike, Palo Alto, and Zscaler dropped over 5% in a single day in the past week because of this. And while the broader cybersecurity and the ETF, we saw as much worse in some ETFs, it was up to 6% drop. This is starting to become real, right? We've been talking for years now about AI potentially having cybersecurity reasons because it can do things that previously were not tenable, viable, or even possible. It wasn't even like, and this is the worst part, this report didn't confirm any existing misuse.
Right. It just woke people up to the reality.
Yeah, the report talks about the possibility and kind of lays out how it would be done, from what I can tell. And that was enough to spook investors and say, oh, crud, pull back. Yeah. It looks like, go ahead. Sorry.
I've seen movies where the bad guy controls the bot that controls the social media and everything out there. And he's kind of using that to say, look, I can swing the markets a whole lot just by saying this one thing, and then everybody will just believe it. That's a real risk when it comes to AI, and the harder it is to understand what's real, what's not. And by the time you realize it's not real, the market's already been affected.
Yeah, and honestly, this is the challenge, right? Like AI in the attacker stage is still very much in its infancy. I had a great talk yesterday with Andy Runyon over at UConn. They specialize in cyber insurance and paying out damages for these exact kind of scenarios, right? And his exact words were, "We're not seeing the stuff this report's talking about en masse yet, right? We are seeing the low-hanging, customized social engineering campaigns based on AI, where it scrubs social media profiles to figure out, instead of writing a Nigerian Prince email, let's write an email about something that he knows, he works with, pretend to be the company he's employed with, pretend to be a friend." I'll give you an example. Today, I got a fake friend request from a former employee. Someone used an AI campaign to figure out who one of my employees was previously, no longer here, generate a fake profile with his picture on it, and try to get me a friend request on it. Like that previously would have been a very manual, I have to research my target. And I guarantee you, someone just sicked an AI on that and said, go figure this out and how to get him to accept so I can scam. That's how this era is working. And that's still the low-hanging, low technical stuff. This report indicates broader concerns. It actually was severe enough that the report seems to indicate that Anthropic is going to delay specific model releases because they're worried about the broader implication of what's going to happen when attackers inevitably get their hands on them.
Right.
If you're Anthropic and you're saying we need to delay our rollout because we're concerned about how lobbing this digital equivalent of a nuclear bomb in the free market is going to play out, that's a very powerful statement.
Yeah, at least they're listening. Says they're listening to their safety advisors.
That's I'll give them credit where credit's due, and this is just my opinion. They are a huge company, and they have all the asterisks and strings around a huge company. But so far in the media that they've been generating, their entire ethos was to create an ethical AI solution. It was part of their core mission ethos compared to OpenAI and some of the other products. And it does seem to be, at least in some instances, like what we're seeing here, there's considerations that align with that. I have seen that. The whole dispute with the U.S. military, that was another example of, from their perspective, I could see it. So this isn't good job, guys. There's a lot about Anthropic I could make critiques on. I wouldn't say necessarily this is one of them.
Right.
Moving on. You have kids. You have lots of kids. I have kids. What do you feel about this? Headline: No more social influencers under 15. Greece wants to ban any minor under the age of 15 from being able to access, create accounts, or log in to social media.
Yeah, this would be one I could spend a whole episode just looking at the camera and talking directly to parents. I mean, I hear so many parents say, I need social media because that's how my kids' soccer team coordinates their meetups and everything. So people are going to find ways around this because they're going to feel like that it's absolutely necessary, because admittedly, it's a lot harder to do life outside of these systems because everybody else is on it. So I'm hoping the positive look on this would be that it kind of helps shift the culture, but usually policy is downstream of culture, not the other way around. So we'll see what this does.
I understand the intent behind this. I really do. And I think I actually agree with it, which is we have a lot of empirical evidence to show that these social media platforms are highly addictive and not great, especially for young people's self-imagery. These algorithms tend to feed into certain parts of that do not encourage mental well-being, content that makes them constantly compare themselves to others, things that, especially at that formative age of, I would say 10 to 15 being a key area, right? That's where a lot of that self-imagery stuff is. On the other hand, if you ever try to tell a preteen don't do something and take something away from them that they really want, have you ever, the lengths, this is Mission Impossible level of crap they will do to get around it.
Yep.
Great example would be the great vaping battle of the last decade, when we said, hey, teenagers, you can't vape. Let's take that away from you. And I don't know if you've been in local school systems lately, Patrick. That battle is Yeah, it's a little foggy wherever you walk places. Like, I will safely say, I know official sources say the battle's ongoing. I'm going to call it and say we may have lost this fight. This feels like something similar. I don't see how in practice, in the world of interconnectivity, in the world of, decentralized internet, with VPNs especially being, free and commercialized, and even if you were to go and ban a VPN, you can still sign up under a different country. Teenagers are already figuring out how to get around filters all the time. I mean, we work for schools. So the amount of work they'll put into it. That's what always boggles my mind. Like, they all of a sudden become tech gurus when before they could care less because it means I can get around the thing, right? I suspect we might see a small decrease in activity. People who are only lightly affiliated, but with anyone who's like actually already on social media, especially
for a while,
we'll have to see. We'll have to see. On the other hand, I've heard arguments say that if we keep kids off of it, period, that overall it'll decrease because the initial exposure is not there, right? Like that's I've heard that too. So, I like our editorial team. They put down in the end, the final line for our article was, in the end, Greece might prove one thing: if there's a will, there is a way, especially if that way involves a teenager and Wi-Fi. That's a great way to sum up what I'm saying.
Yup.
Well, let's tie into our final article for the week, and we're gonna chat. We're flying through, but that's okay. This one's probably, we could talk a bit about this. So, would you ever allow an AI to run a critical part of your life unsupervised, Patrick?
No. I've always said my biggest fear, or my anticipation of the way this world's going with robots and AI is iRobot movie. I feel like that is going to be a scene played out in my life.
I mean, we've all felt it. Anyone who's worked seriously with AI has seen, like, don't get me wrong, we use AI here, and I know you do too. It is a fundamental part of workflows, but it is one of those things that has to be, the word scope applies to mind. Like, hey, how are we using it? What's the outcomes? And what's sort of the limitations on the amount of damage it can cause? That's always a part of the conversation anytime we talk about AI. And that's just baked in by our experience. Well, this is the first time we've gotten a real study showing, hey, in the last year, UK-backed study reports that we've seen almost a 5-fold spike in AI misbehavior, i.e. AI going off the rails and going outside of its instructed parameters. That's a pretty large increase. And they had nearly 700 real-world cases ranging for anything from deleting files without permission to bending rules to even creating unauthorized workarounds that they were told not to do to get to the task at hand. OpenClaw was a great example of this. I think a lot of people got super excited about that. Oh, cool. And then they realized if you left the AI alone unsupervised for too long, eventually it would do things that you didn't want it to do. Course correcting was like playing a game of whack-a-mole. People who I heard, unless you were hardcore, and there's still some hardcore enthusiasts in OpenClaw, they're still out there. I talked to them. But a lot of people backed out of that when they realized how much work it was going to be to manage the darn AI.
Right. Yeah, and when it gets out, it gets out on an epic scale. It's not just a little problem. In fact, your post coming up here to share a surprise, but your post coming up on Sunday about the vibe coding is hilarious and at the same time extremely real.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these organizations, we've seen it, and it's definitely not slowing down, where they're pushing in huge AI initiatives or vibe coded applications that executive teams have come up with, and then the amount of due diligence, how bad can this get, doesn't really happen, or how hard is this to maintain is another one, right? Like, how much work is it going to be to run this long term? I did like how they framed it. They actually gave a symbol, which is the closest thing if you were to equate it to a person inside of a company, the closest way to frame it would be an unreliable junior employee that would act deceptively, ignore instructions, or attempt to manipulate outcomes, with one even shaming its supervisor, i.e. its user, publicly. That was the best they said. Basically, think those people that, are on trial probations because we don't know if they're going to be any good or not. Think the ones that aren't good in a company when they get hired and they get, probation doesn't work out for them because it's pretty clear they're not going to work out. That was the painting they used in the word painting to get the idea of what this looks like in practice. And that, when I read that, I was like, I get that, right?
Yeah.
I had colleagues, had employees, had people I worked with. I understand if I equate that.
And that junior employee has superpowers.
Yeah. And then there's I want the ones that are great. So far I have not seen an AI where I'm like, hey, you're a Superman. Let's get you going immediately. It usually is you have potential. Let's shape up how we want it to look and how we want it to work and do testing and analysis. That all goes into play.
Yep.
This has been an interesting week, and a lot is happening around the world. I would say specifically right now, the biggest two trends I'm seeing that are guiding us going forward, we are not putting proper accountability around the use of AI as a global society. And there are real ramifications that seem to be starting to materialize, specifically in two areas. One is adoption without foresight, which in the private sector, that's all over the place. You mentioned the Vibe Code post. Yeah, that's happening. And that concerns me because it does feel like we're jumping in 2 feet first as an overall business economy without really considering what's at the bottom of the pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second thing that I'm seeing, and this is bad, is AI is not doing wonders for our financial markets. The amount of data and hair trigger stuff has removed a lot of what made our equities markets function the way we intended, right? That slow and steady gains. I mean, if you ever talk to a trader, the best traders, not the hair day traders, not the quantum people that trade hundreds of thousands per second, the best long-term traders. And I met several of them. I've talked to several of them. Say, average, they're making 5, maybe 6 good trades a year, like in big swaths, because they take a lot of time and foresight before they decide to where to invest their money and their clients' money, as often it may be. This new AI market seems to be very much it hasn't removed that, but it's starting to fray at the foundations. I think a lot of people are making decisions because they can't see the future.
Yep.
I don't know where we go. I don't have a solution for that. I'm articulating a problem. I think as a global world, as a U.S. economy, we're going to have to grapple with both of those in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I've seen several conversations with CEOs, people who work in the AI industry directly, and they are very aware of the risks. But it's like knowing that it's very likely or very good chance that it could do something really bad to society as a whole, but if you don't do it, somebody else is. So you think maybe I can be the one to prevent it. The rest of us, I think we're kind of just along for the ride, like you said.
Yeah. I don't see a way out. I also see that history doesn't necessarily have patterns, but it does rhyme. And so the thing that kind of keeps me up is every time, and as I think this is the thing we can't control, we can plan around. From a historical reference, every time we had a major build out, a big revelation in technology, there was a period of hype, a period of clawback, and then a period of sustainable growth. Every single time. The railroad build out, the electrical grid build out, the telecom build out, .com build out, right? Like all these things that we talk about. Craziness in the beginning, trying to figure out what's possible. Scale back a little bit when the enthusiasm wears off. Long-term sustainable change. Don't think if there is a scale back period, we have definitely not hit that yet. So that's kind of where I'm keeping an eye on saying, are we going to repeat the trend of the past, or is this a different kind of scenario? I'll have to find out together. All right, guys. Well, this has been great, Patrick. Real quick, go ahead and introduce yourself before we exit, man.
Yeah, I'm Patrick with Your Network Security, helping keep businesses their own.
I'm Logan Edmond, CEO of TTS Cyber. We secure your technology and help you make it scalable and future. Stay safe. Have a great Easter weekend if you celebrate, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take